What is up, everybody? This is the WMMA Today podcast with Drake Riggs and I, Steve King. On this lineup this week, we get to talk about the RIZIN 32 recap with the great RENA. Cannot wait to talk about her. There's another fight on that card as well. UFC Vegas 43 recap with 4 fights, and then Sarah Kaufman, some mailbags, 1 bit of news, and then only 1 bit of preview, and then of course the great Phantom Punch breakdown, which should be fun.
It's gonna be like half the show,
right? And then of course whatever else you guys want to talk about, leave in the comments, and we'll get them on the screen. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. So, Drake, let's get to the good stuff with RIZIN 32 and the great RENA. Amazing, man, amazing. I love that woman so much.
Yeah, I mean, don't have to wait long. Let's get right into it. RIZIN 32 was this past weekend. Was on Friday night here for us over on the Pacific side this time, so that was a little bit different. It was not too bad. And yeah, so we got things started before UFC. Usually we go right into it, which is nice too, but this worked out, and a pretty fun card overall. And as Steve mentioned, RENA came back, rematch with Miyu, very competitive, but in the end she ends up getting it done with a chef's kiss knee,
dude. But all right, so I mean, Miyu obviously went in for the takedown. It didn't work out for her. She was just too far away. I mean, and you can't do that against a great striker like RENA when she's able to throw the knees like that. Like, you just can't. That was a big mistake.
Yeah, but I think the thing about it was she hadn't had to worry about any knees before then. That was the first one, which is that makes it even crazier, you know, like that was RENA's first defense of a takedown with a knee there, just absolutely perfectly timed. But you're right though, because it was a little too far, and so she was able to see it easier than if, you know, the previous takedowns that Miyu got. Because let's not kid ourselves, Steve, Miyu was winning this fight. She's putting it on,
dude. She cut RENA open. Of course, as you can see on the screen there, RENA's bleeding. Like that's from Miyu getting those elbows down on her face.
It was the knees on the ground. They were Coleman style.
Oh, that's
and there were the elbows too.
Yep.
But yeah, very, very fun competitive fight. I mean, RENA looked sharp like her old self on the feet, and then it kind of went how I expected it to. I had a little bit more confidence in her takedown defense, kind of after hearing, you know, the stuff that she had been doing, working with Kazuyuki Miyata at Brave, Olympic wrestler himself. But I mean, I was expecting Miyu to get takedowns for sure, at least, you know, have some success doing what she does, because she's improved so much, and that's just where she's always been good anyway. But ultimately, she essentially just got caught. But I mean, it wasn't a fluke or anything. Like, this was just brilliance from RENA, and then to follow it up and just go for the kill. Like she said, a finish was a requirement. Well, she was not lying.
No,
very good stuff.
She definitely kept to her word where she wanted to get a finish, and she did. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, very, very nice. And I'm thinking, didn't quite look like Miyu had a broken nose afterward, but obviously some damage around the eye as well. And I mean, as you can see in the picture, pretty perfect spot there. But yeah, crazy stuff. Bummer, man. This was another one of those fights where you hate to see one of them lose, right? So it's going to be sad a little bit either way. And I feel like it always stings a little bit more when Miyu loses, just because, you know, she's a grandma, the most badass grandma out there, but it's so always a bummer. Oh yes, so very likable.
Yeah,
but yeah, this was.
She was also out there for Kid Yamamoto, you know, and there was a lot.
I think that the first fight.
There was a lot going on there.
Yeah, I think the first fight might have been the last one he cornered her for, which is kind of like why it was,
I think it was.
kind of
and of
that
course,
element to it.
RENA beat Miyu the first time as well.
Yes.
So it's safe to say that RENA has Miyu's number. We're not going to see a third one. I mean, there's really no need. There is no need at this point. And who knows, at 47 years old, right? Is this the end for her?
Yeah, that would be a bummer to see her go off of that loss. But, again, it's like you can't ask someone to continue fighting. I feel like it feels weird, at that age, even though you wouldn't know it. Seems like she's 30, of course, and still a top 5 atom weight, even with this loss. But, yeah, pretty crazy. She's just remarkable in general. So hello, everybody. Of course, you can see the comments coming in here. James is here. Mr. Edwards Bailey back again. Appreciate you, sir. He says his workday just got made more fun. Appreciate that greatly, sir. Great to see you again. And happy birthday, Chris. It was his, give him a happy birthday. It was his birthday over the weekend. Great guy. Does good stuff over at SCMP as well. So everybody wish him a happy birthday. Belated, right? Jimmy's here. Jen's here. He says RENA with the comeback. Yeah, a little bit of a comeback. As I said, she was losing that fight.
She was.
Rue says, Rue's here as well. Why didn't RENA attack the body like she did in the first fight? Well, I don't remember if she, had too much of a kick-heavy attack to the body. I know she usually will, throw her punches to the body in that first fight. But, I mean, so much time had changed. And, when I spoke to her, she was saying it was like, it didn't even feel like a rematch, Rue, so she probably approached it a little bit differently. They both evolved tremendously. I mean, that was that was RENA's second fight, Miyu's first fight. So it would have been surprising, I think, if it looked exactly the same. And I'm sure RENA's expectations of Miyu obviously were different than, trying to go back to that same well. I mean, she could have tried, of course, don't get me wrong, but maybe the thought process there was like, we'll see what else I can work on first. And yeah, maybe she would have been the third if she didn't get that knee there, but we'll never know. She won anyway, Steve, so it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really matter. But of course, I mean, it's really nice to see RENA back in the ring again. I was gonna say cage just because, but the ring again, and it was a long time. It was a long time. It was, for me, my personal love for RENA. It was just too long. So I look forward to it, and now I'm looking forward to what she's going to bring more. Against who? Who's she going to fight next? Is it going to be for the third time?
Well, I don't know. I think she talked about that a little bit before this fight too, and she was kind of more on. It sounded like the logic side of things, like, I understand I lost twice to her. Don't know how likely that would be. Of course, she'd want it back, but it could, and I talked about that after her last fight with Tommy Matsu and the potential options, because she said maybe 2 or 3 more fights. You remember this, Steve? And then we talked about it last week where she's planning to go past that now. So I don't know. That would kind of not make sense now, because RENA has won 4 fights in a row and Kana has lost her last 2. Yes, to Hamasaki and then Siori, which was an upset as well. But for RENA, I mean, it only makes sense to do the Hamasaki title fight, which she still doesn't seem so sure about.
That's tough, man. Yeah.
And then teammates, and same with Oshima, who's above her too, and they're all 3 teammates.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, the atom weights. I mean, they're training together. They're friends. It's like, who do they fight?
AACC just has it locked down, man. But yeah, I don't know. I think. RENA also, she says she wants to fight in America again. So,
yeah,
Steve, that could be an option where not really. I mean, yeah, she could do a Bellator fight, but then it's like, well, what do you do? You could do the Lindsey Van Zandt trilogy because, hey, there's one. They're 1-1. They could do that. But,
Yeah,
What would be more fun would be to get her in the Invicta mix. That'd be more fun.
That would be awesome. And I mean, you know, Drake, they're working, RIZIN, Bellator, they're working together. They're talking about doing big cards and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, coming up, and there's no female fighter bigger than RENA to bring over to America.
Yeah.
That RIZIN can send over.
Yeah, in terms of star power, yeah, definitely.
Other than the champions.
Right. So, yeah, it would be easier in this case where, you know, Rena's not the champion, I think. So, yeah, man, we'll see. There's some options. It's easier, as we've seen, for the Japanese fighters to go to America rather than the reverse. So that would be cool if Rena can't or decides not, if she isn't willing to, you know, fight her mentor and friend in Hamasaki, who's the champ. It's kind of comes down to how she wants to. Is she going to value fighting her friend more than fighting for the title, like legacy over that kind of thing? A little bit of the Kane DC debacle, right?
Yeah.
That she's going to have to worry about. But if she doesn't,
we see that a lot in MMA, to be honest.
Yeah.
With champions, they just don't want to fight each other.
Yeah.
That's why the Kayla Harrison thing and Amanda Nunes, dude, they literally train together. I don't know if they even want to fight each other.
I don't know if I'd say they want to.
We talk about Kayla Harrison going to the UFC, but who the hell is she going to fight other than Amanda Nunes, who is her literal training partner?
Right.
Yeah. You know, I mean, training partners don't want to fight each other.
Typically, best avoided, but yeah, that's a unique case. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, fair points. Ghost is here. He says, not good ring awareness by Miyu. Her back was to the ropes, and Rena was an arm and a half length away. Good knee by Rena. Yep.
She just shot way too early. I mean, she's smarter than that. She's a wrestler. She's a very, a great wrestler, to be honest. I don't know what happened there. That was just, like Ghost said, ring awareness. But, I mean, you can't do that.
It was interesting, too, because she was actually doing all right on the feet. You know, she was landing her overhand right. You know, she was having some success. Obviously, did better on the ground, but that's because she kind of wanted to be there more. So, yeah, this was just maybe bad timing for her, great timing for Rena.
Drake, I think it was just bad judgment. I mean, she was too far away. She was way too far away from Rena. I mean, and then she just ate that knee and got knocked out cold.
Yeah, so happens. But Centro is here as well. Good to see you. It's been a while for Centro.
Welcome back.
Ghost says Steve is going to destroy me. I'm more of a Panchayan fan, even though Rena hooks to the body are awesome. I got to go with the front snap kicks and triangle kicks of Panchayan.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I don't necessarily think that Panchayan isn't better than Rena. I just have this love for Rena. Like she's one of the fighters that have really caught me.
Yeah, you're certainly not alone there. Seems the boys like our idea of Rena going to Invicta. As James says, yes, Rena versus Del Boni. Multiple explanation points.
It would be fun. It would be a great fight.
Yeah, and Rue says Rena versus Del Boni would be fire after seeing the Ghost breakdown. Yes, that would be awesome indeed. Jimmy says if only Rena Panchayan was interested in MMA, Rena versus Rena would be incredible. Well, you know, Jimmy, if you ended up seeing my interview with Panchayan, which was, I think, in December, so a while ago. But I did ask her about MMA, and yes, she's not interested at the moment, but she made it. She kind of said, you know, similar thought to Rena, who, you know, conquered shootboxing essentially, right, Steve? Did everything she could, and she's kind of openly admitted that's how she felt about it. I mean, she was 35, 5-1 or whatever, so pretty dominant over her time there. Yeah. Panchayan wants to do kind of the same thing and solidify herself as, you know, the best female kickboxer that she possibly can. Do everything she can, and then I could see her coming over to MMA. That's kind of how she said it too. It's like I have a lot of
the best female kickboxer right now, and I mean, it's just do MMA. But where would she fight?
You could fight. You could fight in the atomweight division. I mean, 103, right? She kind of fights around that range. And I mean, she was kind of packing on some muscle recently. I was looking some photos she was posting. Looked like she's working on that. So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, that was the main event. Good stuff there. But as Steve mentioned, we did have another fight in the atomweight division before this one. So let's talk about that one. Pretty damn close one, Steve. I don't know if you caught it.
I didn't watch this fight, but I saw the clip. I saw clips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mizuki Nisei Oshiro gets the job done against Eric Koga via split decision. This one, I'm curious to hear the chat's thoughts on this, who they thought won, if they saw it, because I think there was a pretty decent argument for Koga. Maybe that's me thinking a little bit more with the unified rules in mind, because the case here was pretty much Nisei's top control against Koga's damage everywhere else. At least that's how I feel about it. She had more top time, but I feel like in terms of damage, Koga, I mean, of course, she had a bloody nose, as you can see right there towards the end of it. But overall, the entire fight, I feel like Koga landed a bit better, was more effective in all areas, especially the striking, man. She, we talk about Takabayashi, who still absolutely adore, and then we look at Koga, who beat Takabayashi in her fight before this. Koga's a very solid, 20-year-old prospect as well. Like, she was very sharp on the feet in this one, had some pretty good, power to her shots. I would recommend definitely watching this one if you didn't, just to get a glimpse of Koga.
It doesn't seem like anybody watched it.
What's that?
It doesn't seem like anybody watched it. Jin said, we did not see this one. Rain said, I skipped it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, come on, guys. You can go back and check it out once it's on YouTube. I don't think it's there yet. But
they're not on YouTube yet. I looked earlier. I was going to watch the RENA fight again.
Right. Definitely worth checking it out, though. I'm still not too sold on Nisei, being something just yet at atomweight. Like, she's lost to all the other better prospects. Beat Koga here in a close one, like I said. I really like what I saw from Koga, though. If she can work on kind of her grappling defensive issues, perhaps she could do good, because on the feet she looked very, very good here. So Christopher
said, for what it's worth, he gave it to Koga. He gave it to win.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of leaning that way, but I think that control and more dominant positions is kind of something that in Asia will get maybe a little bit more love. But I don't know. It was very close either way. It wasn't a robbery, but
yeah, Chuck's saying it was a good fight, fun, scrappy. We're missing out.
Yeah, there were a lot of good scrambles too, actually. So I mean, it wasn't like Koga wasn't holding her own. She just found herself kind of on the bottom a little bit more than Nisei, that's for sure. So it was definitely a fun fight. And I mean, I see a lot of potential with Koga. Like I said, still not totally sold on how far Nisei can go, but good for her. Gets the win in her hometown. Maybe some home cooking. No, I'm just kidding. It was.
Who knows?
Yeah, so
I'll go back and watch it as soon as they put them up on YouTube. I want to watch the fights that I did miss anyway.
For sure. There was some good action indeed. They should probably be up, I would imagine, by tomorrow, this week for sure. So definitely stay prepared for that, you guys. But yeah, just the two on RIZIN 32 in Okinawa. Good stuff there, of course. As we move on to UFC Vegas 43, which I've seen already that people weren't too thrilled about it. And admittedly, it wasn't a great card, Steve. It wasn't that great.
No, what, one finish?
Yeah, just one.
And the fights they just weren't that good, Drake. We're positive typically. We just like to see the fights, but the card just wasn't good. The commentary was god fucking awful.
You listened?
I mean, I did. I tried to, I had it on, and then I was like, oh, this is it. I can't fucking do it. I can't do it with DC anymore. Like I can't do it with that guy anymore. What did he say? He said something in one of the fights that was like, what the fuck? What fight was it? Was it Pinheiro? The Pinheiro fight?
I mean, he said a lot of ridiculous shit on this card.
Maybe it'll come to mind when we start talking about
Right,
it. I think it was one of the women's fights, though.
Well, he definitely did in the main event, so let's get right to that. My goodness. And so, as bad as this card was overall, I think that the main event got a lot of unnecessary criticism. I thought this was a fun fight. I mean, both women brought it, and obviously one came out on top with some interesting scores. I actually had this all 5 to the winner, but alas, Steve, Ketlen spoils things here.
Yeah, I mean, she's very good, right? She had a hiccup. She bounced back against a former champion. Drake, to me, she, even though she won the fight, she held back a little bit. She could have let those hands go a lot more. She was hitting Misha Tate with her jab. She was throwing combos, and she was clipping Misha Tate. She was hurting her. She should have just let go. Let go. She probably could have got the finish at some point.
So I understand what you're saying, and the thing about that kind of assessment, though, and all, which was that was kind of, I think, not what annoyed me most about commentary, but commentary. DC and Dean Thomas specifically were saying that a lot. How Ketlen's just not letting her hands go. Like they kind of overdid that, where they made it sound like she was losing, but it's like they just wanted her to do that. Yeah, but no, she didn't need to do that, is the thing. Like, yeah, it would have been great, but she was doing fine.
Right. She didn't necessarily need to do it, but if she was if she wanted to really just put a stamp on this shit, I beat a champion, I'm fucking here. She could have let her strikes go a little bit more, and maybe finish Misha. I don't know.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I just feel like,
I think by this time I had commentary turned off, so I don't even know. I don't know what they were saying.
Yeah, well, not a bad decision at all. It was pretty rough in that 5th round. I think there was a whole lot of unnecessary criticism of Ketlen here, because I thought she looked, fantastic. Like I said, I think she won every round. You know me, Misha's one of my favorites all time, but I struggled to see her get one there. I mean, just when you look at impact and damage, it was all Ketlen. Obviously we look at the stats here, and it was very close numbers wise, as you can see from Misha just being 10 less that she landed, and even they threw practically the same amount.
They did.
A Misha takedown, which I don't even remember when that happened, in the 4th round for 1:34. I don't remember that sequence at all, but I mean, just the impact, everything was more effective for Ketlen, I think. Yeah, I thought she looked great overall, and yes, I understand exactly what you're saying with, go get the finish, make a statement, but this was still a statement performance. I think this is what we needed to see from her since she got knocked out, right? Like, this was kind of going back, maybe not exactly to the old Ketlen 100%, but it was very damn close, maybe like 90% back to the old ways. And you talk about maybe being more aggressive, going for the finish, like, it was probably still a little bit of flashbacks of what happened against Aldana. Because if you go and look back at that Aldana fight, she was pressing hard and going for the kill on that one. And she was winning the fight against Aldana, then she got clipped. But that's because she was attacking forward a lot looser than she did here. This was a lot different, and maybe showing off some new wrinkles. You guys think about it that way, as from the perspective of, okay, she's learning new ways to fight. If one fighter only has one gear and they never learn, that's not a good thing either. So I look at this as a very positive perspective and performance from Ketlen, being able to change things up a lot. And I mean, the corner advice, that was a weird thing. We're not going to fault her for that, but like,
what was the corner saying?
In the 1st round, particularly, they were really upset with her kind of shooting for the takedown, which I did call it. I said that she would shoot first, but it was not needed. So kind of some mixed fight IQ with bad cornering, I think, in this fight. It was a little bit weird. well, that's not true, but not in this fight anyway.
Misha is the wrestler.
Yes, that as well. But no, this was I think overall a very, very good performance from Ketlen, and what we needed to see compared to her last 3 fights.
She looked big, didn't she?
Yeah, no, she's definitely a very big bantamweight.
Yeah,
she's very solid for the division.
She's kind of like Norma Dumont type body type.
I think she's probably a little bit taller, but yeah, that's fair.
But she has like the big bottom half,
right?
You know, the big legs.
Yeah,
very strong.
Indeed. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with her now. That kind of screws things up a little bit, Steve, because of, I mean, it depends on kind of how everything else goes. I mean, you could.
Was she ranked 10?
No, she was right above Misha. So whatever Misha was, she was right in front. 7 and 8, I think.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I mean, you could do Ketlen versus Holly. I think we should still do GDR versus Aldana. Those are probably the ones to go with now. And then I don't know.
Yeah, she's 7. Misha's 8. Yeah, I mean, there's Miranda Randomy, Holly Holm. Aldana's obviously not going to fight her. Pena is fighting the champion, unfortunately. And then there's Aspen Ladd, who I would actually like to see Misha fight Aspen Ladd. Because there's kind of heat.
That makes sense now. If Misha won, that wouldn't have made sense, but now it makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Aspen Ladd will fight down like that.
There's also that too. Yeah. We'll see how that all plays out. That's for sure.
Maybe there's enough hate.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's. I think it might just be more criticism than I don't know about actual hatred there, but obviously,
it's actually probably just Misha talking shit,
professionalism kind of stuff,
and Aspen saying, basically shrugging it off.
Yeah. I mean, she's not in a position really to fire back, after what she did or didn't do necessarily. But anyway, Yusuf is here again. He says, Ketlen V has so much potential. Yes, she does. If she's gun shy versus Tate, imagine how gun shy she'll be versus Nunes. Well, here's the thing, Yusuf, about that is it even necessarily the smartest approach to going crazy, against Nunes? I don't know. I think that her counter approach in this fight
not at all
might be better. Who knows? But I think she'd maybe try and mix in her wrestling a bit more too against Nunes. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm still definitely curious to see how that fight would go. That was one that I was very much looking forward to when Ketlen was on her undefeated run. But we'll see. And then Ghost with a spoiler says that next week's Fan Punch Breakdown will be featuring this fight. So there we go.
Nice.
Jimmy says Ketlen looked slow. I thought Misha's ring awareness was actually better, but kept running into counters. I don't know if I agree with the slow part, but yeah, Misha definitely was struggling in that.
She wasn't slow. I just think that she was methodical, like what Jake was saying. She was just, she was more aware of what was going on, and she wasn't a crazy woman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Go says, not as bad as the cornering for Aspen Ladd. One guy saying double jab, the other saying right hand into clinch. Conflicting info. That's never good. Chris asks, what do you want to see next for Misha? He'd like McMahon or Pennington. We just kind of said maybe the Aspen Ladd fight could work. And Sarah McMahon just got booked against who's she fighting now? We just talked about this, Steve, didn't we? Was it last week? I think it was last week.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it's Carol Hosa.
Oh,
so
yeah, Hosa, yeah.
That's a good one. Pennington rematch, that one works too. But I think because we don't even know if Ladd honestly obviously shouldn't make bantamweight anymore. She shouldn't try, just be a featherweight, even though I don't want to talk about the featherweight division. I do not, but I'm saying she should clearly not try and make this cut anymore because it's too much for her. But if she can, figure shit out, get away from Jim West, and probably not going to happen. But regroup with the nutrition shit, then that would be great. But with that in mind, I think Chris is probably on the money there with Pennington rematch. Why not? I mean, I'm sure Misha wouldn't hate to get that one back. So, but Pennington's busy with Raging Panda too, right? So,
yeah,
a lot of crazy fights happening here. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out.
I think the top everybody other than who Jermaine Durandamy,
Durandamy, Aldana, Holm, kind of the top ones, yeah.
Kunitskaya, pregnant.
Right. So
everybody's taken.
Yeah, which is kind of a good thing to see at bantamweight. So
no, it's a very good thing.
Yeah, indeed. But that was the main event. Sad to see Misha lose, but I am quite impressed with the Ketlen performance.
Yeah, it's good to see Vera win though. You know, I mean, she's a very good fighter.
Yes, very much so. And you know who else is a goddamn good fighter? Steve, Miss Tyler Santos.
Yeah. Well, she ended Calderwood pretty easily. First round. Just Joanne had nothing for her. She should have kept the Calder in the wood, man.
Oh man, I had a R-rated joke ready to go right there, but I will not use it now. That was a layup. Yes, Tyler Santos looked fantastic in this fight. Not surprised. I mean, I guess surprised. I didn't think she'd finish her, Steve. Did we both predict decision here? I mean, I know I did. But my goodness, Tyler Santos.
I'm no longer gonna pick Joanne until she takes the Calder back.
Fair enough. But yes, we were already on that hype train for Tyler Santos. We knew she was legit, and this was absolute perfect. Not even a reminder, but I don't even know what to call it. You know, just a statement. I mean, a reminder that she is not primarily a grappler, Steve, because that was the brilliance of her past 3 fights. Was she made everybody forget that she's a fucking Muay Thai phenom. You know, like the first person to drop JoJo, and she did it twice within like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then submitted her. This was incredible stuff. I mean, I think that we knew she'd be a title challenger, but now's the time, man. She should get the title shot next. I'm fully confident that. Who else are you going to give it to? I know Andrea Lee's the other person, but 4 in a row, and Tyler Santos just did that. And like I said, reminded us how dangerous she is everywhere. It's impressive, man. She's very, very good. And this is what I've been saying, Steve. I think since like the Jillian Robertson fight was, in theory, a fighter with these overall abilities, but has a Muay Thai base similar to Valentina. I think that's someone who could do pretty well against her, and she's got a great frame. Like Tyler Santos looks like, in theory, the person who could give Valentina a run for her money. So I want to see that fight very badly.
I mean, I don't know about if she can give her a fight and run for her money.
So it's in theory.
Jesus, until we see it, I guess, it's just one of those things. But
exactly.
Yes, she's very good. Is it going to be too fast again? Like, are we going to see another prospect go down just because there's nobody else against Valentina Shevchenko? That's the one thing that is annoying to me about Valentina Shevchenko being a champion, is she just keeps on. She's beating everybody, no matter who they fucking throw at her, prospect or not.
Yeah, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Even though at this stage, I mean,
like you said, who else is there? Lee, and that's it.
Yeah, and I've seen some people mention that they should fight next. I'm like, no, absolutely not, definitely not. We should mention Alexa Grasso, who was supposed to fight in this one as well, but she's got to win another one at least before getting a title shot too.
There's Araujo as well.
Yes, yeah. But we've seen her set back even. So, like, the momentum that both Andrea Lee and Tyler Santos have right now is like unmatched compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Chris says, as a Brit, got it for JoJo. Don't know if we'll see her in the rankings again. I'd like to see her fight Roxy, maybe. Well, Chris, Roxy's next fight is her last one, man. So Casey O'Neill and then off into the sunset for Roxy.
I don't think they would fight anyway because they're teammates.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I felt like this was kind of the last push or last hope for JoJo to put together a shot at the title. It's just not going to happen anymore. I think there's no
She's
doubt about that.
Unfortunately, ass now, Drake, for taking that Jennifer Maia fight.
Oh God. Yeah,
that was the worst possible thing that she could have done for her career. I don't know who talked her into doing that. If she did it herself, like my fucking mind is still blown by that shit.
Yeah, did not quite work out, did it? Yusuf says, what a monster, Tyler Santos. Give her that title shot. Agreed. Yeah. Jimmy says, more like Tyler Santos, chopped wood down. Hey, well played. Yusuf says, got a feel for JoJo. Had the title shot, missed that payday. Exactly as Steve was saying. Go says, JoJo using the long guard while backing was painful to watch. She was just asking for a rear straight down the line. Got a taste.
Just happened so quickly. Did she even hit Santos at all? Like, I mean,
yeah, maybe. Not that we can remember. Nothing significant.
I literally don't even remember.
Yeah. Ruth says Valentina is unstoppable, the most complete human being on the face of the earth. I won't disagree with that. Bruce simping. Ruth says, why does it go to a breakdown of the most skilled fighter ever? Yes, that's why indeed, Ruth. Why indeed. There we go. We'll let them sort that out. But yes, Tyler Santos.
Drake, can we talk about how good the Brazilian ranked women are right now?
Yeah, sure. So, who else are you thinking?
No, dude. I'm looking at the rankings right now in flyweight. There's Santos, Andrade, Maia, Araujo. In strawweight. No, that was flyweight. Sorry. In strawweight, Rodriguez, Mackenzie Dern, Lemos, Hebus, Jandiroba, and I guess you can put Gadela up there. I don't know what the fuck she's doing with her life. And then in bantamweight, there's only a couple with, of course, Vera, who we talked about, and then Carol Hossa.
Yep.
Dude,
that's a lot, though.
The Brazilians are coming, bro. It's about fucking time.
Yeah, it's quite a resurgent wave now that you mentioned that. That's interesting.
Dude, I was looking at the rankings right now, and I was like, holy shit, they're everywhere. They're everywhere in the women's rankings.
And not even just in the UFC. Look at Juliana Velasquez, the champ in Bellator. Bruna Ellen just looked great last week.
Crazy, man. We're gonna have a lot of Brazilian champions soon.
I'm telling you, Marina, she's coming for that shit. And yeah, we'll see what Tyler Santos can do. My goodness, Carol Hossa, another one. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of options. So
there's a lot, man.
Brazilian takeover coming back.
Wow.
Indeed. But as we move on in this card, one of the earlier fights on the night, Loopy just can't get enough, and she gets the job done, Steve.
Yeah. It's weird, man. Loma's so good, right? She's so undersized. Like it's
been the problem.
Like it's annoying. I would love for her just to fight somebody her own size. And it's never going to happen in the UFC. Never.
Yes. Yeah, the division isn't there. Loma is an atom weight. Naturally.
Like, I'm happy for Loopy. Of course I am. But, Loma's got my heart. Her Muay Thai is phenomenal. She uses the clinch great. The knees, the elbows. She's dirty, dude. So I want to see her do dirtiness again, and she's just not going to do that in the UFC. She just isn't, and it hurts me to say that.
Well, that's the thing we've been saying, right? Since Loma kind of started putting some momentum together, was that there's a handful of people she will beat purely based off of her skill set, which she has done. But she's never going to be top 15 because those girls are skilled and bigger than her. Like, it's just unfortunate. No matter how good she gets,
compared to that poor girl.
Yes. Yeah. And, here was a decent sample size where like Loopy's not even that much bigger than her, right? Like not like a big difference compared to, let's say, if Marina was to fight her. Like, could you imagine seeing Marina versus Loma would look like? That would look crazy. I mean, geez, Marina looked pretty, a good bit bigger than Watterson.
Yeah.
So the thing here was just that, as we knew, Loopy was going to be kind of stronger overall. And in this fight, that was essentially the story of it. She really leaned on her wrestling as things went on. As you can see in the second round there, she had almost the entire round of control. I did think that Loma actually won the first round. I thought she kind of landed better. And, she had a nice trip on Loopy herself there. But then ultimately Loopy was able to turn around late. Loma just defended actually very well. As you can see, 1 of 4. Her takedown defense was on point at the beginning until, the very end there where Loopy did get her down. But yeah, it looked great in the first. And then Loopy really found her timing in the second and third round, hit some big takedowns there. And that was pretty much the story of it. And so Loopy looked good, gets back in the win column, but of course, still good at strawweight aside from the debut. But the fight before was at flyweight on short notice. She breaks the record, or sets the record for most active 3-fight back-to-back spree, or whatever it is. Either way, she did that. So good for her. Gets the win. We'll see what this means for both of them next. But yeah, it was
I don't even know what's next for Loma. Like Loopy, she has all kinds of matchups for her, but like Christopher was saying, Loma is just wasted in the UFC. It's true.
It's a disservice.
It sucks to say that, but it's true, man. Just let her go. Let her go. Be free, in RIZIN or One or something.
Oof. Well, even One that wouldn't work because she'd still be on her size there. But like she was to go back to Invicta, go fight in Deep Jewels a little bit. Like, yeah, get RIZIN, all those areas. We could see some excellent stuff there. Like, who wouldn't want to see, Loma versus Kana, anything like that. List goes on and on. Fighters that she, is the same size as. Go says, if she's the most complete human, they're talking about Valentina still. If she's the most complete human, then she doesn't need a breakdown. There we go. Go says, Rain called this fight, though. And he says, after Rain mentioned Sylvia versus Loma, I saw the 3 fights they had. Sylvia would knee slide into range and stick her with right hands. It's a habit that Loma will never fix because of her kicking game. If I were to give Loma's opponent a scouting report, it would be to attack her with level changes in right hands. There you go.
Din coming out of left field.
Yes, I know. He's not a fan of Marina. Yes, we've gone back and forth on that a little bit, but hey, it is what it is. Chris says Loma versus Stamp in one could do kickboxing, Muay Thai, and MMA. Hey, that'd be cool.
Stamp would be fun, but again, she's probably bigger than Loma.
Right. But she'd probably be one of the more closer sized ones. But I like where you're thinking there, Chris. So yeah, bummer for Loma. Good for Loopy. Another one of those fights, like RENA and me, where, oh man, one of them has to lose. That's a bummer. But
yeah, but you can see it coming for Loma. Just, she's just not going to be. It's just not going to work out for her in the UFC. It just isn't.
Yep, not at strawweight. No. But also at strawweight, to kick off the night, we saw Luana Pinheiro keep on keeping on, Steve.
Yeah, I didn't watch this fight, but I saw that Pinheiro did beat Sam Hughes by decision, unanimous decision, 30-27 and a 29-28. So one of the judges gave Sam Hughes probably the first round, right? Was it the first round for Sam Hughes?
I think they actually did, but it probably should have been the third round if they were going to. No, there's no way it was the first. It had to be the third. You know, the first two were definitely Luana's best, and then in the second round, she even knocked her down there. You know, could have maybe finished with a little bit more aggression, but yeah, third round, she slowed down, but not like she was gassed. It was kind of, I think, more reserving, which I thought was a good thing, just because we know Luana's a hell of a finisher. You know, we expected her to go in and do her thing, get real aggressive, fast. Yes, exactly. But yeah, we saw that from Luana early on, just in the end wasn't able to fully capitalize, and Sam survived because, as we know, Sam Hughes is very goddamn tough. And then kept on ticking in the third round, which was going to be her best round or best chance to she had to weather the storm and then wear down Luana by being so tough ultimately, but wasn't able to do that. And Luana keeps on keeping on as well. So
I think I said this last week in the preview. Sam Hughes is not helping herself by taking all of these short notice fights. She needs to regroup, take a breather, regroup, get a camp in for a fighter and go fight that person. Maybe we'll see the best Sam Hughes. I don't feel like we're not seeing the best Sam Hughes because she's not getting a full camp and she's just not getting the break that she needs in between fights.
Yeah, I think that's
I get
totally
it.
true.
I get what she's doing. Totally get what she's doing. She wants to make money, man. I get it. But you can't just keep on fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And I mean, she's losing these fights.
Yeah. No, I think
it's not like she's gone like 2-1, 3-1 in these fights. No, she's literally lost all of her UFC fights, which have all come on short notice.
Yeah,
she's hurting. She's hurting herself.
Yeah, and wouldn't be surprised if that was the last time for her. Probably should be, unfortunately.
I mean, that sucks for her because she's giving the UFC what they want is a fighter who's gonna just come in and fight whomever, whenever. It doesn't matter. So they should give her time to regroup and get a full camp in for one specific opponent.
Yeah, I would say so. And Jimmy says, shouldn't Hughes be better since she faced better competition? She faced Tisha as her debut. Well,
Tisha beat her. I mean, Tisha, that was just a mollywhopping by Tisha Torres. I mean, she annihilated poor Sam Hughes.
Well, I mean, Jimmy, I think that Steve pretty much nailed the whole assessment there about Sam just being too trigger happy, I suppose, in terms of taking these fights. Prepare a little bit better. Take some time. I get it. As you said, make your money, but that's all it's happening. It's the bank account's getting fatter, but it's not going to last, unfortunately, at this rate. But Luana looked good. Unsurprisingly, everywhere the fight went was quite solid there. Rain asks, would Hughes versus Frey be a fair fight? Not right now. Jin's on a winning streak, and we'll actually talk about her later. But fair, I mean, technically, Rain, they'd all be fair fights, right? They're all professionals, but no, that fight does not make any sense right now either. I mean, Sam Hughes has lost, was it 4 in a row now? At least 3.
It's
there's no UFC fights, unfortunately, don't make sense for her at the moment. But it's not a knock on her, just how it's gone. So
no, I mean, she's willing. She's obviously willing to fight whoever, and it doesn't matter when it is. It's just it's not the right thing to do for herself. I mean, who am I though? Who am I to say what's right and wrong for her? But I mean, that's just I'm seeing what's happening, so I think it's a fair critique.
The results have not been there. So, yeah. Yep. So, on that note, that was UFC Vegas 43. Quite the roller coaster, I guess you could say, in terms of assessments and takeaways. But
That Adrian Yanez fight was great, though.
That was very good, and I think he might have lost it, but it was very close. It was very fun. Good stuff there. I definitely don't agree with Davey Grant winning all 3 rounds, but I think the last 2 he had a very strong case.
Yeah, one of the judges gave him all 3, right?
Yes, yeah, gave Davey.
It was a split decision.
Yeah, that was not good. He definitely did not win the first round. No chance.
Yeah.
So yeah. Jin asking what fight would make sense for her, assuming still mean Sam Hughes, and he says a person just debuting. I mean, yeah,
probably not even. That's the only way.
If she was to stay, or Hannah Cyphers, they can fight out for the roster spot. But it's just like, I don't think, indeed. I don't think the strawweight division necessarily needs them, as I kind of hate to say that, because again, don't want to see people lose their jobs and that kind of thing. No. As Alvin would say, Alvin's not here yet, but when you're supposed to be the premier MMA organization on the planet, kind of need to have some standards, I think. So it's a double-edged sword. Anyway, that was UFC Vegas 43, folks. And we had one other fight that happened over the weekend, and I have not seen it yet, unfortunately, but I got to mention it because it is one of it may be the most underrated fighter of all time, as Miss Sarah Kaufman, former Strikeforce champion. She defeats Jessie Mille, who is my biggest fan. She defeated her by first round TKO in a featherweight bout at BTC 13, Steve. I imagine you didn't see this yet either. I don't know. I don't know if it's on YouTube yet or whatnot, but I will definitely get around to it because obviously it was not that long. Gets a TKO at 356. I'm assuming that's a still shot of when the TKO happened. Good for Sarah Kaufman. I mean, it's
good to see her back in the cage fighting somebody.
Yeah, first time since the PFL season last year, or not even last year, 2019, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, because they didn't have it last year.
Yeah, it was, nonsense. It's a completely criminal that Sarah Kaufman is not signed to a major organization. Primarily the UFC. She should be in the UFC, hands down. Never should have left. One of the best bantamweights of all time. A top 10 bantamweight now. This was a featherweight fight, obviously, but
she should be in friggin' Bellator somewhere. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fine too if she's gonna take these featherweight fights. But at bantamweight, that's just where she's always been. And clearly
better competition than Kat Zingano for Chris Cyborg or Sinead Kavanaugh.
Yeah, that's not inaccurate. And clearly she is still ticking. I mean, hey, finished Jessie Mille when Julia Budd could not. If you want to make some MMA math comparisons here, I mean, Jessie Mille also beat Toledo Nogueira. Sarah Kaufman could definitely hang in the Bellator division. She's fucking good. She's very good. It's insane that she's not on one of these bigger stages. And I kind of like that you mentioned Bellator, Steve, because obviously the relationship with Coker is there from the Strikeforce days. So who knows? Maybe they'll pick her up after this. I mean, they should if they're smart. UFC should if they didn't hate her for whatever reason. Yeah. It's gotta be backstage politics bullshit. Like nothing makes sense. But we've heard little rumors over the years that's kind of the case. But I have never heard why. But Sarah Kaufman is a legend, a pioneer. In my books, perhaps the most underrated fighter of all time. When you just look at her career. Good for her. Gets the win. Very happy to see it for her. I'll check this fight out as soon as I can. If it's on YouTube already, I don't know, but I will look after this, and you guys should too. Because again, only about 4 minutes long. So. Yes. I apologize, Yusuf. I missed that because we got sidetracked with the other comments. But he asked, can you answer the question about how good is Lemos? He doesn't watch he doesn't know much. And he said he knows that she has big power, obviously, because she can knock people out. But Lemos is very good, Yusuf. She is rightfully where she is now in the division, making Well, I don't know exactly what she's ranked, but whatever it is, she should be definitely in that top.
She's ranked. I mentioned her, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, she's
She's
very
11.
good.
She's 11.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good. That
Red
top
Bush,
12-ish.
Anvil Hill.
Right. Yeah, Lemos very good though. Yusuf, she can do it all. She does have, I think, the BJJ in the back pocket as well. We've seen her show off that grappling, and I remember the Mizuki fight and some others as well. Has some submissions. She's very good, and obviously the power is just what's standing out now. And I mean, she's dropped all of her opponents, so that's the big thing. But
she has power, mad power.
Yes, she is quite good. Hey, Yusuf, I mean, if you want to do some homework, man, I would recommend. Her fights are never boring, obviously. So go check.
Yeah, I don't think that she's had a boring fight.
Yeah, indeed. So just fun stuff at strawweight as always. So Angela Hill, worried for her a little bit in that one, Yusuf. Let's put it that way. So should be fun though. Should be fun. But anyway, you guys, those were all the fights and the brunt of this show, because really not a lot happening currently, but everything just happened, got it out of the way before the holidays. So all the recaps, and now we dive into the mailbag, which is a little barren, but it's got some interesting stuff in here, which I kind of want to tackle right away, and I don't even know if we should answer, but you know what I'm talking about, Steve. It is what it is. But we'll start things off with our man, the other Steve. Let me open this real quick. Let me open the mailbag. We might have addressed it already. Yes, we did. But since Head Kick Steve asked, got to just say for his part. He says, "Where do the losers from Tate versus Vieira go?" Seems fairly clear. I mean, it depends on obviously what happens with everything else, because there's a lot of things going on, as Steve mentioned. With, I think, as Chris mentioned, the Pennington fight that's a good rematch to do, but I guess if she wins or loses against Panda, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you could do it either way, but and then what Aspen Ladd ends up doing with her career, that's a big question mark, but she's got nothing going on. So if she can healthily get to 135, I think that's a good one.
Could you imagine if she took the fight against Misha Tate and she didn't make weight? Oh my God. Misha Tate would just never shut the fuck up.
I mean, I don't think anybody would. I think we'd all crucify her even more for that. That would be bad. So yeah. As for Katlyn, Head Kick Steve, I think probably the Holly Holm fight. I think that's pretty clear the one to do. Remake GDR and Aldana all day, and then you can have it would be like a little mini tournament kind of, depending on how things shake out, right? Because obviously some of them have mixed and matched, but I think that's pretty clear. And then Nunes will just kind of have to wait, which I don't think is a problem. But yes. All right. So since we are in the mailbag, and we'll get to kind of the silliness that I'll address here momentarily. And see ya, Yusuf. Thanks for hanging, buddy. He's got to go.
See ya.
Rue says, Whaley, question of the day. Why is the media saying that Whaley, even with training with the simulated booze, is still an excuse for UFC 261? Okay, so I guess this kind of ties in a little bit to what we're about to get to. And James is right. Man, mailbag isn't that good anymore since Ghost got his own segment. Yeah, that's true.
And Yusuf isn't asking crazy ass questions anymore. You guys scared him off or something.
Yeah, that's very likely. But anyway, let's address kind of what Sammy's bringing to the table here, which is kind of something. And Sammy, I'll preface this by saying, buddy, I appreciate you so much for, all your thoughts and contributions that you've made, your interest in the show and the support, all that. I really do. But he asks, why are media members and the MMA community questioning Whaley's title run? Here are some of the narratives. 1, elbowed Andrade in the back of the head, so that was a fluke win. 2, robbed Joanna of a clear victory, so another fluke win. 2, Rose dominated her twice, so she's not an elite strawweight. For her path to the title was too easy. She was one of the most fraudulent records, yada yada. When RDA or Hannah Brow lost titles, there was no mention of these. By the way, I'm not trying to be negative. So here's the thing, Sammy, and I'm not even really going to answer this question, because the thing I'm noticing about some of your thought processes and comments is that I think you're very easily trolled, man, because I don't see any of this stuff. I only see it when you bring it up to me, and it's kind of, I don't have time for it anymore, man. I feel like I think you're being very easily trolled by a bunch of, fucking idiots out there, because I have literally never heard about this elbow stuff with Andrade. Robbed against Joanna, a clear victory. That's easy a troll opinion. Wherever you're seeing that, you're being trolled. Rose dominated her twice. That's not true either.
Where's Cammy going? Is he on the UGG?
Are you on the UGG, pal? I mean,
no, Drake. Like, this is literally the UGG type shit.
It's just too much. And I think, wherever you're seeing this stuff, Sammy, you need to get off of it and don't bring it to us.
And if it's Twitter, get the fuck off Twitter too, because holy shit, homeboy, it might be Facebook, because God knows Facebook's a fucking cesspool.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say if the Facebook people are trolls necessarily. They're just actual dumbasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, everything I'm reading from you is just troll statements here. And this specifically, I know he had another line of tweets here, which let's just look right at it. He says, why does Whaley get a negative response when wearing the flag, but it's not the same with other countries? Again, it's still kind of the same thing. Yeah, obvious racist, bigot, morons, wherever. It's all it is that you're seeing. Like,
yeah. Ghost thinks it's YouTube MMA, WMMA shit. It could be YouTube as well. I don't know where Sammy's going, but wherever you are, buddy, you should not be there.
Right. Like no logical, sensible human is having these kind of opinions. I think that is my opinion, obviously, but if I'm not seeing it and Steve's not seeing it in our regular everyday lives when we're scrolling on whatever we are, then that kind of, I think, tells you all you need to know. Yeah. So yeah, just kind of had to address that, Sammy. And don't want to sound rude or anything, but I think you need a cleanse, man. You need a social media cleanse for wherever you're going, and it's somewhere you should not be. So yeah, we had a little bit of a tainted mailbag there today. Just how it goes. Ghost, you're too kind. He says, it's the only channel that gives you the good takes. Hey, try to just be unbiased and tell it how it is around here. So yeah, that was the mailbag, everybody. All right, so let's get to our one bit of news of the day. Just a single fight, and I forget who it was. Apologies to you, but you mentioned Jin Yu Fry earlier. Well, Jin is back already. Looks to continue the momentum against Hannah Goldie. Steve, how do we feel about this one? February 26th. That's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
In advance.
Yeah, Jin Yu Fry and Hannah Goldie. Not exactly the best fight, but I mean, I guess it'll be all right. I mean, Jin is bounced back, it seems. Hannah Goldie, did she lose her last one? She lost her last one, right?
She beat Whitmire and then lost to Belbita before that.
Which was not a good fight either. The Whitmire fight. So yeah, I don't know what to think of this one. I mean, again, we can see one of them getting cut.
Oh, I don't think Jin's going to get cut. She's on a 2-fight winning streak now. She'd have to look really terrible.
Who knows what the UFC is going to do there.
Yeah. This fight, you guys know, I want that Penne fight. I want to see Jin Yu Fry versus Penne. I know they're both on winning streaks, kind of revitalizing their careers a bit. Maybe Penne more so, just with the finish in her last one and all that. But two former Invicta Atomweight champs, give me that shit. I want that all day. I love me that story. I want to see that. The UFC refuses to give it to me, and I know Jessica just pulled out of her fight with she was going to fight Luana on this last card. Don't know the reasons for it, but she seems okay, at least from her Instagram. Doesn't appear to be an injury we can see. So either way, hope she's okay still. But that's the fight I want. I want Jin versus Penne. They won't give it to me. So now we got to deal with Hannah Goldie versus Fry, which is fine. I'll take it. Not super excited for it, but I'm still here for it. It's whatever. Just giving Jen kind of that slow burn run, making her work for it with kind of matchups that aren't above her. You know what I mean? Like she's kind of just taking whatever it seems like in these kind of cases here. But hey, it is what it is. Gotta do you. Enjoy the run. I think that's what she's doing at this point, and I think I'll probably slightly favor her in this one. Not a bad matchup. Should be all right. But I want the Penne fight. Give me the atomweight lineage. God damn it. So even though that's one too where I don't want either of them to lose necessarily, but hey, I can't win anymore. So yeah. Jimmy addressing the mailbag. He says, I've seen that stuff on YouTube. That's why I go here from now on. Yeah, I mean, YouTube and Facebook, easily the worst, right, Steve? Just garbage people on the comments.
For sure.
Like, I don't even know if they're actually humans. Jen says, I know where Sammy gets those thoughts, but that is why I come here, because those idiots are not here. Well, most of the time. Hey, we haven't had too many idiots in a while. It was kind of just like,
there was that one idiot. There was just that one guy.
Yeah, thankfully. And Rue saying he's also seen those narratives on YouTube channels that will not be named. There you go. But that's why this chat room is here. So we don't have ding dongs being dumb. Very true.
We're not big enough yet.
Yeah. So comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Because trust me, we get some at SCMP plenty. But yeah. All right. That was the news. All we got today, like I said, a light load for the show. So we're about to be done, Steve. I mean, we just got 2 more orders of business, 1 fight to preview, and then the Fan of Punch breakdown. And
fight that I didn't even know was happening.
Yeah, so
I didn't realize that RIZIN was doing another show this weekend.
Yeah, so RIZIN Trigger first. It is the very first RIZIN Trigger event. We'll be getting about 4 to 5 of those a year as they begin to ramp up the schedule. This will be the debut in Kobe. And yeah, it is this weekend. And fights in the cage, Steve. The Trigger event will have the cage.
Kickboxing, though, right?
Kickboxing and MMA.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's mixed. But the fight we are talking about here today is going to be the lone women's fight, which is a kickboxing match between Momoka Mandakoro and Miku. So you guys will remember Momoka from the very first RIZIN kickboxing fight against RENA Panchayan. She did lose that fight, but put up a hell of a fight.
She did.
Very fun stuff. I mean, she is a tiny individual, stands at 4'9", but man, she always throws down. Very fun fighter to watch. Yeah. And happy for her to kind of get this opportunity to be making history, right? As the first woman in the first 2 fights. And, and then now she's going to be kickboxing in the cage for the first time in her career. She's had 40 kickboxing fights, Steve. So here we go. Taking on Miku, who I believe looks like Jessica Ai's sister, her younger sister or something. I honestly don't know anything about Miku, but I wanted to mention this, of course, because it is happening and all the elements about it. We know who Momoka is.
Know their fights going on.
Yeah, and we got nothing else to talk about. So, but Momoka, great personality too, very fun. If you saw, I did have Ron Broad Horizon episode 11, so you can get yourself ready for her fight by going and checking out episode 11, which dropped last week. RENA was also on that episode if you want to recheck that out. But yeah, Momoka fights this weekend, and I don't know exact. I think Miku has around like 7 or 10 fights. Most people that Momoka goes against, she has the experience edge on, obviously, with having 40 fights.
Yeah, she has so many fights.
Yeah, and then staying active here and trying to get the W against Miku in the cage. So I'm very fascinated to see kind of how the kickboxing fights, maybe more than the MMA fights, play out here, Steve, because we've seen kickboxing in the cage before. One does that, but one does it with MMA gloves on, which Let's get this out of the way. Stupid, fucking really dumb. I hate that. Like why add eye pokes? The possibility if you don't need to. I don't know, but they do that, or at least make the gloves. You can make them small, but cover the fingers. They don't even do that. So mini rant out of the way. But we'll have regular RIZIN kickboxing gloves on for this fight and all the kickboxing matches in the cage. Should be interesting. Should be interesting how that goes. But
yeah, should be fun.
But yeah, so by default, just have to give Momoka the pick here. Since she does have the experience, she is the veteran. Still, it is 28 years old though, so she's really been staying busy.
Do.
Yes, indeed, much shorter camps because less to work on compared to MMA. But also, yeah, who knows if we'll see Momoka in MMA at some point? She said she's always been interested in that, so. Got to get through Miku first and make a lasting impression for the RIZIN brass. Should be a good time. And look who's showed up.
Alvin!
He says, good evening.
The UFC fights this weekend.
Oh, he says, good evening, Mr. Riggs and Mr. King. What a phenomenal UFC event. All fights went to decision. What a display of heart and skill. And very nice to see that no one got seriously hurt. I fucking love him so much. It's just the absolute antithesis of what everyone else says. And I love it. I love it so much. Alvin is our positivity hipster, and it's my favorite thing ever. We need more Alvins in this godforsaken world.
Sammy needs to hang out with Alvin.
Yes, he really does. He really, really does. So, Sammy,
let's link those two together, and Alvin can change Sammy's ways.
Get him on the right track to prosperity. Oh man. Ghost here with an interesting point, though. He says, "I like 4-ounce Muay Thai gloves and MMA just because they can't use the shell." That is a good point.
Yep.
But like I said, they can still cover the fingers, man. Like there's no reason to allow that extension
for kickboxing.
Right. Yeah, I think they could still do that, right? There's tiny gloves that cover the fingers. Those exist.
Yeah, Trevor Whitman has them.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. And Ghost says he meant kick. Oh yeah, too many kickboxers using the shell. Right.
Yeah.
Never saying they disagree with Alvin. Well, that's what I'm talking about. So, RIZIN Trigger is this weekend. For those of you that saw RIZIN 32, I imagine you got that bundle deal. Then you already got RIZIN Trigger out of the way. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Much better deal than just to get one over the other. But this will be a good card. In the main event is Kyohei Hagiwara. I believe in Shoji. I think it's Hagiwara. Should be either way. Good card. RIZIN in the cage. You can't go wrong. It'll be. I think it'll be fun to have the usage of both enclosures. So, I mean, soccer kicks against the cage. Come on.
That's gonna be insane if they can get him off.
Oh yeah, some good violence there. But that's all we got. Everyone's taking the holidays off, which I'm not going to complain about.
Speaking of holidays, Drake, we got the end of the year coming.
That is true. I can't believe it. I haven't been thinking about it, obviously.
Yeah, no. I literally just thought about it right now.
We're going to have to get the awards ready, get the categories. So
if you guys can think of any categories, send them over to Drake or I, Drake and I. So we can add them in. Give us some fun stuff. Give us fun stuff. It doesn't have to be necessarily fight of the year.
We'll still do those, of course.
Yeah, we're gonna do those no matter what you guys say. Because those are awards. I mean, that's what you do. But yeah, if you guys can think of anything, send them over to us, and we'll do what we can with them.
I love the award show, honestly. It's probably one of my favorite themes. I'm all about giving out kind of the respectful things. So,
yeah.
And last year's was fun. I do remember that.
Oh yeah, last year's was great. I think we should get somebody on with us though.
Yeah.
Like Serena would be fun for that.
I think it'd be fun to have people rotate in. You know, that'd be a little tough, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, how can we get?
I know.
Well, okay, all right, you're done. You're out.
I know.
Time's up. Time's up.
Well,
All right, we're in.
having the presenters kind of idea, you know, it's like, all right, come in. That'd be sick if you could do it where like it was somebody related, like they have some tie to the winner. That'd be cool, man. I bet that'd be a good job.
Pre-recorded.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Hey, maybe we can make that happen.
Probably not this year. I mean, we're at the end of the year.
Yeah, I know.
Thanksgiving is literally in 2 days.
Yeah, I know we'd have like 3 weeks in December to figure all that out. So
yeah, I don't know if we can do that. Maybe next year we can think about that in like August.
I'll see what I can do. I mean, we'll have to figure out who gets the awards first, and then go from there.
Do you think that Serena would be fun for that? You know, she's incredibly outgoing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's a couple more that I can think of, but
yes, absolutely. And Ghost says he's got some funny ones. All right, look forward to hearing it.
Yep.
So on that note, as Ghost mentions his ideas, it is time once again for the Fan Punch Breakdown. We had a week off last week, and this week it is time for the Saori Oshima Breakdown, who, you know, just got the big upset over Kana Asakura, launching herself right into the thick of things, a top atomweight, presented herself as one of the very best atomweights in the world. Let's talk about her. Alvin, very excited. He says yes right away. Love to see it. Let's go full screen and get into things. All right. Oshima versus Asakura, intrusive moments. Round one. We're going round by round here, folks. Kicking high early, even if it hits the arms, is a great strategy to limit the opponent's head movement. Jab feint forces a reaction from the opponent. Oshima lands a nice rear straight down the opponent's center line. Mislead front kick allows Oshima to attain outside foot position from open stance. Outside foot position allows Oshima to land a lead hook counter over the top of her opponent's jab. Attains outside foot position. Outside foot position allows Oshima to slip the lead jab and land her rear strike down the middle. Very nice. Oshima slips the rear straight and takes the inside foot position. Head control and underhook allows Oshima to break opponent's posture to set up the inside trip.
Perfect.
Cute. Right into it right there. Oshima consolidates the Kezakatame position, scarf hold, by driving her post foot up and grounded foot towards her opponent.
I don't think there was anything she could do that would have been better.
Yeah, that was excellent. Arm control and wedge created by Oshima's grounded foot allows her to land free right hands. Delivery. From side control, the opponent does the correct thing by framing to create space. Oshima pummels her left arm in between the frames to prepare to kill her opponent's frames. Oshima kills the frames by pulling her right hand out, at the same time bringing her grounded leg towards her frame. Towards the frame. Oshima consolidates her position by setting her base and flattening her back posture, in parentheses. And we're on to round 2. Sequence 1. Single collar tie breaks the opponent's posture. Oshima secures an underhook, making Dominic Cruz proud. Inside foot position gives Oshima space for right knees. Inside foot position, single collar tie and underhook leads to an inside trip. Oshima lands in non-consolidated half guard. Oshima has scarf hold and wrist control in half guard, which seems like a dominant position. Committing to the scarf hold does not allow Oshima to posture up. Posturing up in top half guard leads to striking dominance from the top. Underhook and the position of the bottom leg allows the opponent to nearly take the back. Opponent slides bottom leg under Oshima while maintaining an underhook. Opponent's top leg starts to swing over. This is the problem with the scarf hold. The opponent now has a hook in and compromised the base of Oshima. I feel like we hear that during every fight. Somebody mentions that. It's the problem with the scarf hold position. But hey, still effective, as you can see. This is trouble for Oshima. The opponent's right foot is on the ground and left foot begins to consolidate a back take. Take note that Oshima's base is compromised. As strange as this position is for Oshima, this is still considered a guard since both legs are in between the opponents. It's just an upside down guard. Knee shield and rotation of the back allows Oshima to regain a workable guard. Traditional open guard achieved. Achievement unlocked. Ooh. Open guard 101. Keep foot connected to the opponent's hips to maintain separation for incoming punches. Upkick lands and stops ground and pound from the opponent. I mean, Steve, Seiri Oshima, maybe the best upkicks in the game right now.
Yeah.
Hooking the leg over the head and underhooking the near side leg allows Oshima to break the opponent's base and posture. Sequence 2. Oshima is in half guard bottom. All opponent has to do is kick the trapped leg out and up to pass. Oshima begins to create a frame and establishes a head tie to break the opponent's posture and prevent a pass. Frame gives Oshima space to begin the sweep. Head tie and bicep tie breaks the opponent's posture when opponent tries to pass. Opponent begins to pass by pulling back and pushing on the hips, giving Oshima the space to sweep. Oshima's head control gives her proper connection to perform a butterfly sweep. One leg elevates while the other pushes off the ground. Oof, that was nice. Instead of trying to regain base and posture, Oshima looks to attack the leg that's connected on her far side hip for a leg lock. Always attacking is Seiri.
Oh.
Round 3. Fight.
Fight. Yeah.
Always good to see high kicks, even if they're blocked. Can't hate them. Level change and outside foot position forces opponent to place weight on the back foot. Oshima lands a beautiful right straight to the gut that sits the opponent on a chair. While Oshima is very skilled at the bottom position on the ground, do you guys think Oshima's comfort from bottom position will hurt her in the long run? Why do you guys think that the ability to stand back up, not striking skill, but standing back up after getting taken down, is often neglected? Movsar Evloev versus Mike Grundy is a great example of the ability to get back up. Evloev gets Grundy to shoot and take him down multiple times, but Evloev keeps getting up while Grundy keeps shooting. By Grundy's 12th shot, Grundy was gassed and Evloev capitalized in the third round.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't think there's any more after that. But that was excellent. Once again, Steve cannot go wrong. Zero Oshima, fantastic. But as for his questions, I guess we'll start off with the first part, of course. He says, do you think that Oshima's comfort off her back will hurt her in the long run? What do you think?
I guess if she
depends.
I guess if she starts fighting better grapplers, then yeah. I mean, because then they'll just grapple with her, and you know.
If we're gonna be honest, though, there's only one. There's only one that's better than her now, right? I mean, she just did that well again. She just beat Kana.
Yeah.
Ayaka's the other one.
Yeah.
So, and she's smaller than everybody, but it's clearly not mattering because she's that damn good.
Moves. Yeah, she moves very fluidly. Like it's all a very fluid movement with her. So it doesn't matter how tiny she is. That doesn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
Yeah. So it's one of those unique cases, Ghost, I think, where I think she'll be fine. And just you look at that fight, and you look at all of her fights. Like, this was a great example just because who it was against, right? And on the stage and all that. But you watch her whole career, she is just nonstop active, always going for, attacking at whatever it is. Like we just saw there with, the leg lock attempt. If there's an opening, she'll go for it. But even with strikes, like in that fight, the nonstop up kicks whenever there was an opportunity. Like, I think her size being so small helps her in those positions, like, because she doesn't have to, like, her legs are short enough to where they can squeeze in there like punches, dude. Like those up kicks on Kana were just, chef's kiss stuff. She's got fantastic up kicks right now, and she can use them because of the rules. So, yeah. I mean, I think she's fine on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, there's only like I said, there's only one person who she might have trouble with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's okay.
Yeah, so do I. And then he asks about obviously, why do you guys think the ability to stand back up is often neglected? And then, mentioned the Evloev versus Grundy one. So, Steve, I think you had some thoughts on that one as the wrestler.
Yeah, I don't know why it's neglected. I don't know. I honestly don't know why it's neglected. It shouldn't be, I guess.
Is it just like you think people are lazy? They don't want to work on. They can't all be Derek Lewis.
Yeah, Derek Lewis. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they just don't want to do that extra work. I mean, but it shouldn't be neglected, obviously.
Well, here's the thing. Now that I think about it, I think that obviously that sounds weird to say not to do that extra work, but I don't think it's a thing out of, I shouldn't have said laziness. I shouldn't have said that, but it's kind of preparing for, I know, but like now that I think
now
that I think about it, more of a case where it's them preparing to not get in that position rather than preparing for the position, right? Don't why train for something if you aren't even gonna imagine being there, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I would train. I guess I would train to be there. That's the only way that you'll get better is actually being there. Specifically in training, repetitiveness. The repetitiveness is what gets you better at something. That's just the way it is. Like you can't go into a fight and think, oh, I'm not going to go there, because you don't know what your opponent's training on. Your opponent might be like, oh, I'm going to take this motherfucker down. And then what are they going to do?
But that's kind of the delusion of MMA, right? Is that everyone thinks they're so much better than, maybe they are in certain areas, whatever it may be. So,
yeah.
And I mean, you kind of have to be to an extent, right? But
no, I mean, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to believe in yourself. But I mean, you got to train. You got to train to go to places where you're not comfortable.
Right. Yeah. But then that's the thing is no one likes to be uncomfortable. So it's like a double-edged sword. So maybe, I don't know. It's a tricky thing. That's a great question though, Ghost. I'd love to hear, maybe I'm going to have to ask some fighters about that, because I think that is a pretty good question.
I bet
should have asked Sayori.
I bet if you ask fighters that same question, they'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, that is a good question.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't do that.
So we're gonna have to start a trend to get everyone working on their ability to get up. But yeah, excellent stuff. Nonetheless, Ghost. Let's check out the comments now. I always love reading them after those.
I think it's more of a wrestling thing where you specifically work on getting up. If you're down, you specifically work on getting up. You have to. Jiu-jitsu, I don't think that they do.
Right. Because, you don't necessarily need to. Being on your back sometimes is better.
You literally don't have to get up in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But in wrestling, you fucking out. If you're down, you got to get your ass up, or else you're getting points taken against you, and you're going to lose the match.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point. Yeah, the need, I think.
It's definitely needed. It's needed in wrestling for sure. Like 100%, you have to. I guess that's probably why I'm like, I don't know why they don't do it.
It makes sense to me.
I don't fucking know why.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Backgrounds play a big part, but Alvin says, I love Mr. Phantom's breakdowns. Best in YouTube. You won't find me disagreeing. Obviously quite biased, but hey, he is phenomenal. You can't argue. Rue says, Oshima should be very good. Jin said, very cool. Jimmy says, Ghost loves them high kicks, just like inside low kicks. Oh, yeah. He just loves the kicks in general. James says, really cool stuff with the high kick. Citra says, man, I've missed these. Ghost making me feel like I'm watching fights wrong. Always. James says, man, I would have missed that wedge on the hand. Yeah, very nice stuff there. He highlights the things you might miss in live action. Alvin says, so organized and clean looking slides. Thank you, Mr. Phantom. Jimmy says, this one is really instructive. It shows how to maneuver through positions on the ground that I hope to use in training. Love to hear that, man. James says, base posture connection pressure also seems to show up every week. Hey, they're big things. Citra says, well, now we know why scarf holds are bad. Well, like I said, this intro, we get reminded on commentary every single time it happens, no matter what event you're watching, and that happens. But yes, that was definitely a reminder. Jimmy says, open guard is the first thing we learn in jiu-jitsu. Good thing it shows up in fights at the highest level. Yep. Jin says, grappling breakdowns like this really makes the fights better on rewatch.
Grappling breakdowns.
Oh, yeah. I think I definitely much more enjoy grappling breakdowns than striking. Just myself, personally. Yeah. Not that I don't enjoy your striking ones, Ghost, but there's just like, you see so much more, I feel like, on these kind of ones.
Yeah.
As Rue says, the small details on the butterfly sweep and passing, just great eye for detail. Yep. Beautiful stuff from Ghost as well as those involved. Jimmy says, high kicks again. Rue says, oof, that looked painful jab to the gut.
Was that the guy? That jab, yeah. That shit was nasty, dude.
He says, whoa, that jab stabbed Asakura. Citro, jab to the body is money.
It's a beautiful thing.
Incredible. Truly amazing. Yeah, Siri is fucking talented. Rue says Evlo versus Grundy. I thought that fight was boring. Guys taking each other down and getting back up. Well, there's it's like a little battle within the battle a bit. Ghost says rare breed to have someone be so slick on the bottom. Props to Oshima. Yeah, I mean that's again. I think she just has to be because of that size, like we mentioned. She has needed to adapt to being able to do well in those positions. And here we are talking about her as one of the best atomweights in the world. Jimmy says, in my gym, we don't work on get-ups since there is no space. We would run into each other if we did, but the pros work on it in private. Good question, Ghosts. All right, there you go. A little bit of insight and a good point by Jimmy. And Ghost agrees. Says, Jimmy, that's a great point. My gym doesn't work on it either, but they never told me about space. The ability to stand back up can be weaponized by lesser wrestlers with bad takedown defense. And he says, thank you for the compliments. Well, you earn them every single week, man. 16 down. Looking forward to what he said next week is the main event we just saw. So Ketlen Vieira and Misha Tate. I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't care what you guys say, but always look forward to Ghosts and the Phantom Punch breakdowns. And yeah, there we go. We will close out the show just at a nice and smooth, clean hour 30-minute mark, just a little bit over. Just a light show before the holidays with Steve and I. Appreciate all you guys tuning in as always.
For sure.
Good fun. Good fun. So don't forget, if you haven't already, for some strange reason, follow us, like, share, and subscribe at Drake Riggs _, at Steve K _MMA, at the Scrap News. Hit the notification bell so you always know when we're going live or whatever we may be doing. I did the RIZIN 32 intermission show for the last event, brought it back. It was a good time just by myself. Pat bailed on me because he's an old man, but hey, I had some of you guys show up. Maybe none of you guys in the chat here, but there were some people. So bringing that back, working on it. Maybe we'll do one for RIZIN Trigger, see how the schedule looks. I guess there's nothing else going on, so I should be able to do that either way. But yes, of course, and also audio versions now on Anchor and Spotify. You can just search WMMA Today for that, and links are in the description as well. So appreciate you all. Steve, anything coming? Just gotta check. As for myself, though, as I mentioned, Braun Horizon episode 11, still check that one out. As Momoka has the fight coming up. Also on that one is Bobby Olagun and RENA, who both got their wins at RIZIN 32. And that Bobby fight was pretty ridiculous. Total freak show fight. He ends up getting it done, though, with maybe the most blood we've seen in the RIZIN ring. He really cut Kitamura there.
Yeah.
And choked him. Kind of a crazy little mess we had. But yes, check out that episode. And then I spoke with Erin Blanchfield last week, so I'm planning on dropping that one probably tomorrow, this week for sure. She is awesome. I feel she's maybe the best prospect in the game, period. Taking on Miranda Maverick at UFC 269. I'll be there for that one, so give Blanchfield the love. That will be dropping this week, as I said. And also spoke to John Lineker, who's fighting Bibiano Fernandez for the title in one next week. Not next week. Whenever it is. We don't know the date, but yeah, spoke to Hands of Stone, one of the most exciting fighters you'll ever watch. And I think that's about it for right now. Have some people lined up for tomorrow and whatnot as well. So stay tuned for all of it, you guys. You know how it goes. As Cintro says, I think the lesson today is don't look at other WMA YouTube channels, but this one. Hey, I'm not going to disagree with that, my man.
Chuck's probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Chuck's like, hey, now. Shout out to Chuck. But all right. Steve, let's send it on home. Let's pack it in early. I know you got things to do. I got things to do. Let's get ready for the weekend.
Until next week, guys. Thank you to everybody who shows up on a weekly basis. You know who you are. And if we don't know who you are, thank you for tuning in as well. Just can't say thank you to you personally. Until next week, guys, stay safe and stay sane.
Peace.